I'm Lisa Lee. Nice to see you again. In this lesson, we are going to talk about avoiding redundancy.
First of all, what is redundancy? Redundancy refers to the state of being not or no longer needed or useful, not necessary. Have you ever written any unnecessary words in your own compositions? What kinds of words are useless? There are two main kinds of redundancy. First, if a certain meaning has been repeated in a sentence, it's a redundant sentence. What's more, if there is a meaningless verb in a sentence, it's also redundant. Here are two examples. Let's read the first sentence. Living standards for the people in both urban and rural areas continued to rise. Have you found any problems? Double-check the sentence for unnecessary phrases that you should edit out. Do you think it's necessary to restrict living standards to people? It's self-evident that the notion of living standards applies only to people, excluded any other creatures. Therefore, for the people is not necessary. Let's look at another sentence. Which words are redundant? Yes, accelerate means to increase the pace of. Therefore, it's not reasonable to repeat the meaning that's already contained in the other word or words. So, there's no need to use pace. The correct sentence should be, new policies have been introduced to accelerate economic reform. Remember, don't say the same thing twice. The second type of redundancy lies in the use of some meaningless verbs. Look at two examples. What's the problem with the first sentence? What do you think about make analysis of? In this sentence, the verb make is a weak, colorless word having no specific meaning of its own. The real action is expressed in the noun analysis. Since the verb here is not contributing anything to the meaning of the sentence, it should be eliminated and replaced by the plain verb analyze. Therefore, this sentence can be corrected as, could you help me to analyze the data? Likewise, what's the problem with the second sentence? Can you identify the meaningless verb? Yes, in the expression give guidance to, the verb give is unnecessary. It just means guide. So, this sentence can be more concise by saying, I want someone to guide me around this new school. Such sentences are grammatically correct, but redundant in expressing ideas concisely and clearly. Remember, don't use unnecessary verb plus noun. Use plain verb instead. Why do we hate redundancy? One of the authors of Elements of Style, William Strunk Jr., has ever said, vigorous writing is concise. A sentence should contain no unnecessary words, a paragraph no unnecessary sentences. In other words, if you want to make your writing powerful, you'd better write as concisely as possible. Any unnecessary words will reduce the power of the sentence. Leave out the useless words and let the act speak for itself. Please revise the following sentences by crossing out the unnecessary word or words. Which word is unnecessary in the first sentence? You're right, woman. Woman is redundant here because widow refers to a woman whose husband has died and who has not married again. It's not necessary to say the same thing twice. So the sentence should be, After Tom passed away, Susan just went on her life as a widow. Let's move on to the second sentence. If you exaggerate, you indicate that something is worse or more important than it really is. It has already overstressed. Therefore, over is not necessary. The correct sentence should be, when writing a composition, some people always exaggerate the facts in order to make them impressive. Look at this sentence. A result is something that occurs as a consequence of some action. It's intrinsically final, so final should be eliminated. In the last sentence, the future tense of the verb will depend is sufficient to express the idea of future. Therefore, in the future is not necessary and should be crossed out. Please revise these few sentences after class.
After today's class, I think you have realized that good writing is always concise. So, in your future writing, practice the ways you have learned in this lesson. Good luck!